Good morning, good evening, good night, everyone all over the world. We are here to talk again about the Game Jam Plus and the development of game industry with the Game Jam Plus, the importance of this event, and also talk with one of the organizers from all over the world about this awesome event. I'm here with Felipe, Margarita, Tao, and Martin. We're gonna talk today about all these awesome places they are representing on. So thank you for you that are being watching us, and thank you for all of you that are being here to talk about this interesting thing that is how to build a community, how to develop ecosystem, and how these events can help to driven these communities. For those who don't know me, I'm Pedro Zambon. I'm a researcher about the game industry. I've been researching games in the last 10 years, and especially trying to understand the development of the industry and public policies, local communities, and this kind of stuff. And it's a pleasure to me be with all of you. So starting our conversation, thank you for being here. Well, you can introduce yourself and talk, especially why do you decide to assume this responsibility to organize the Game Jam Plus in your place? Who are you and why do you doing this? Starting with Felipe. Saludos, Felipe.
Saludos. Thank you very much for having us. Yeah, I'm Felipe. I am a game developer here in Costa Rica. I am part of the Game Developers Association for Costa Rican developers. And yeah, we've been trying to get the industry going for quite some time now. It's a small industry. I started working here actually in 2004 with one of the first companies here established when we were like 4 people. Then we grew up that company till 60, something like that. And then I decided to found my own company. And then, yeah, what I've been trying to do ever since I joined that small company is trying to get word around that making video games from Costa Rica is possible. Lots of people go abroad to actually study and make video games overseas, and that's awesome. But what we want to do is try to incentivize people, Costa Ricans, that they can actually study here and they can actually make their own game ideas and work from here and start to enrich the culture, right? So part of the idea of Game Jam Plus that I think is really awesome is that they get the opportunity to meet other developers, which we typically are a little bit antisocial in some sense. So we actually need a little bit of motivation to meet other people, I think. So that actually helps the community grow in that sense. And obviously with all this thing happening in the air, then we actually, this type of event comes right in time for the industry here in Costa Rica to kind of revivify a little bit and kind of share what we're doing and try to collaborate in some offline manner at least. So yeah, that's like my motivation is to try to get Costa Rica on the map on game development a little bit more. So yeah, thank you again for having me, Pedro.
Well, the pleasure is mine to be having you here. So now, Margarita, please, saludos, introduce yourself. Where are you, and why do you decide to organize Game Jam Plus?
Hi, thank you for having me as well. My name is Margarita, and I'm one of the organizers from Santiago. Right now, the time in game industry is really important because since we have a pandemic, now it's extremely important time to start developing games where the games are being more used and people is taking more care of them. When the organizations that I kind of volunteer with is Game Dev Planet, and we decided to make the event to make a space for people to want to keep developing or want to learn developing and have this time or this opportunity to make it. Some other events that I've been involved with is the Women Game Jam. It's an event that we realized that we did, a few weeks ago, and I learned the importance of making these kind of events in Latin America, where you can meet all of kind of people, and they're by that making a lot of networking opportunities. And one of the biggest opportunities of making global events is that, I don't know, maybe a few years later you will be meeting with people, and then you will be working with them in games, and you will be moving to their countries, and then you will have someone there to say hi to, or friends, or it's like the connection. That's, for me at least, on the organization, is like the most important thing, is to make connections, to make networking, and to have this possibility of growing in the industry, especially for Latin America, since still in my country there are people that say no, this country doesn't make video games, this industry doesn't exist there, even though if we have a lot of newspapers saying that we are doing it, there are still people that is not aware of it. So it's kind of a way of making people aware of what we are doing and inviting them to join the industry. I didn't present myself. I'm a little bit nervous. Sorry about that. I'm a project manager right now in Spoon.
Don't be nervous. It's everyone at home here. Don't need to be nervous.
Yeah, I know. It's just like a natural thing for me. If I'm speaking with a lot of people who is amazing, I think all of you probably are amazing in the industry or doing great things. So it kind of like shakes me up a little bit. So yeah, that's it. Kind of the. I think I answered the questions. So thank you for having us.
Thank you, Margarita. So Martin, who are you, and why to decide to organize GameJam+?
All right. Well, as the other said, thank you for having me. Yes, I am Morten. I am based in Stockholm, Sweden. I'm an indie game developer and an educator for students at a vocational academy. And I thought that GameJam+ could be a great opportunity for students to participate in, kind of broaden their views on the worldwide development communities, give them opportunities to reach out to countries and to developers they might not otherwise have had the opportunity to meet. So that is essentially it, actually. Short presentation, but yeah, I wanted to bring the world of game development to my students in Stockholm.
Thank you, Martin. And at least not less important, Tal Pettersson, please introduce yourself and why did you decide to organize GameJam+?
Yeah, thanks for having me, and all of us, I guess. My name is Tal Pettersson. I'm located in Skövde, which is apparently quite hard to pronounce for non-Swedes. Morten can do it. Skövde.
Skövde.
It's a small town in the center of Sweden with quite a lot of game developers. I've been here since 2006, came as a student, ended up staying because we started our company, which is Stanlock Studios, where I still work part-time. And the other part of my time I spend in the Sweden Game Arena project, which is a project that works to make sure that Skövde is one of the best places to start your indie studio at. So that's kind of what we do. We have also Sweden's biggest game development education at the university here with about 500 students, and they do love game jams. And for us, Game Jam Plus sounded like the best, really great focus with having the business part of things being as a main focus. Since we also have the game incubator here, that's the reason we have so many game companies starting up in Skövde. Skövde is just 50,000 people, but we have about 20 companies and 200 people working within games. So with Game Jam Plus having the business side of things, it really was a great fit for us.
So I want to continue with you, Tal. Because the next question, and I'm very curious to know more about Skövde, is the idea of how a small city of 25,000 people, you say something like that?
It's about 50 if you
50,
go outside the countryside as well.
Yes, well, 50,000 people. It's in the pattern of Brazil, for example. It's a very, very small city, and even though you have a very interesting ecosystem around education and around incubation, and a good community that make you, for example, go to school to study, but stay in school to make your own company and this kind of stuff. So what I want to know more and pass to the audience's knowledge is, well, tell us more about the local industry, not well in Sweden as a whole, but also in the local ecosystem, and how is the community in here? So it's a lot of students, but there is professional companies, there is a bigger company, or there is only an indie game dev scene. And well, connected with this this explanation of how is the community itself, is the importance of this community to development, this mutual development of this community. So
okay. So yeah, I mean, the education is where it all started here in Skövde. It's where most of the companies come from. But now, when we've been around for quite a bit. The education started early 2000, and now we see some companies coming in from other places just to join the community. That's quite new. Also, the stability of the industry here in Skövde is also quite new. We had a lot of startups coming straight from education. I mean, it's tricky and it's tricky now. It was tricky when we started 10 years ago. So, and we do our best to make sure to give them all the possibilities they can get by mentoring and all the kind of stuff. We have, I mean, the education is always full. There's so many people applying. People do want to become game devs, and it's quite a big thing in Sweden overall. And Sweden Game Arena works a lot with trying to connect the students with the local industry. We do after works, which I realize is quite a Swedish thing. That we just have drinks, go out to talk, mingle. We do game jams. We do a conference every year that's quite a lot focused towards the students. Giving and career days where we meet them, look for internships or thesis writing, since it's university here, a lot of that kind of stuff. The scene here in Skövde, we're about 200 people, so about 20 companies. I would say we have about 5 to 10 very quite stable companies that's been going for a couple of years, and that has their economy worked out. But at the moment, we have no bigger companies. Most of the bigger ones are around 30 people. We have been up to 50, but we don't have one of those giants that can boost the thing. And I think that's quite one of the important things that makes it more of a community, because everyone kind of know each other. We also have I know every CEO in every company here in Skövde, and I can call them up. I can swing by their office, and we have a CEO lunch every month where people just chat and make sure everyone knows what's up. If they're looking for something new, what kind of project they're in, if they need more work, if they have work that they need done. So we try to keep it very light and easy. We want the communication to be flowing all the time.
awesome. And well, to complete your answer, talking about Sweden, but in a very perspective of Sweden, because you're talking about Stockholm, no, Martin? So Stockholm is the capital of the country. It's a bigger city than Skövde, but well, it's the same country, it's the same culture. There is a connected industry. But what is the peculiarity of Stockholm as an ecosystem of game development? If you can say more about your local, the perspective of the local community that you're presenting on, and the difference of a game jam event like Game Jam Plus in Skövde than in Stockholm. So there is any difference or the same thing? So that's.
I mean, Stockholm is so much bigger city and has had a well-established game industry for a lot of years. In Stockholm, we do have the really large companies. I mean, there's EA Dice, there is Mojang, there's Starbreeze, Arrowhead, Machine Games. There's a bunch of like really big ones. And at the same time, there is a very established indie game community as well. Before Corona, there were regular meetups for indie developers and smaller companies, and where people just met, at least once a month, hung out, showcased games to one another. And on top of that, there are, Skövde has the biggest education, absolutely. I studied there myself. And but Stockholm has a few really big vocational academies as well. So, there's a constant stream of new developers coming out every year as well, which do go to the often go to the larger companies. I think Game Jam wise, it is mostly for. Don't think the AAA people are usually that keen on participating in game jams. Actually, it feels like it's mostly for indie developers and newcomers. I think, I'm not sure why. Maybe at some points it's contract wise. I think a lot of the AAA companies, the contracts actually don't allow them to make games on their free time as freely as they should, perhaps. So that leaves it to the community, the indie community, the students to do it. So that's the ecosystem is very separated that way in Stockholm. You have the AAA companies and you have the other part, and they don't interact that much, honestly. At least that's my experience. To be fair, I have only lived in Stockholm about 1.5 years now, but it was very easy to get to know the local game community.
Yeah, I think it's enough,
Honestly,
enough time to understand.
Yeah, I think I just sent a message to someone on Facebook, and I was instantly invited to every event that happened. So it's a very solid community in that sense. But unfortunately, the bigger companies do tend to keep to themselves. If that answered the question.
No, perfectly. Yes, definitely. And it's interesting. It's the same country. The same game industry, but also there is difference between two contexts. When you have a AAA industry in the city, when you have more indie game scene, and that's very interesting. This contrast. Talking about contrasts. Let's put Felipe in this conversation because, as you said in your introduction, you were trying to create or helping to create a game industry in Costa Rica. So it's a big challenge, of course, but in opposition to Sweden that has already a game industry, a lot of companies, a lot of people, education system focus on that. Costa Rica doesn't have any courses, as you said to me, and you are trying to help to build this community, to help to make some people wanting to stay in Costa Rica making games, or making go to overseas, not be anything that you need to make games, but that you want to. It's that's tricky idea that if you want to stay in Costa Rica making games, you have this possibility. So I want you to introduce more about this local scene, this emerging local scene. There is companies in there. There is some educational system that is not focused on game development, but there is some groups or something like that. And how is the indie game dev scene in Costa Rica also?
Yeah, well, when I started getting involved in the indie scene, it was in 2004. And then there was only 2 companies, and one had 4 and the other had 3. And that was it. And then a couple of indie game devs started pushing some projects around. There was actually a game from a really small company, about 2 people only, that actually had their game be nominated on IGF, and that was really good. But that kind of was like a one-time event. And then in terms of education, there was only programming and digital animation, but the digital animation was mostly focused on animation for films and shorts. So there was nothing in terms of game development. That was until 2011, something like that, 2012, and then slowly, really slowly, the university have started creeping in some game development stuff, because there's a lot of the push of the new generations that they want to learn game development. So right now there's I think a couple of like technical degrees in game design from a couple of different universities, but they're still starting up. I think they have a couple of years, but they're still not big yet, and there's a little bit of work to go around. Yeah, in terms of companies right now, there's around, I don't know, like 12 companies, and the biggest one is around 50 people or 60 people, and there's a lot of like like maybe 10 to 20 people. There's a couple of them, and then the rest are really small ones trying to make their own indie games. And there's no like big companies like Martin said about Stockholm. So there's a couple of actually of big companies trying to get here in Costa Rica, but I think they're not still established. But I think the industry is trying to get them in here. With actually, there's a Costa Rican promotion agency which tries to get big companies to come here and invest. So it's called Procomer, and they're actually helping us trying to get some of these big companies to come here. So
awesome. And well, to conclude this introduction about the local ecosystems, Margarita, well, Chile is not there is a scene from a while. There's some companies in Chile. There's interesting companies. For example, I remember Esquenta as one company that I have played some games. But you can say more about the local industry in Chile, in Santiago. There is events, there is meetups, the size of the companies, and also what's the profile of who engages more in the community also.
Okay, so yeah, we have been for a while. I don't know how to say it in English, but when the companies meet up and make like a statement for the government, like we are all together, that happened like 10 years ago or so. So we have been a while represented by the companies for the government. We have some big companies that work for AAA games, but they are not like the company for the AAA. Like they have, I don't know, like 50 people or maybe more, some of them. So the AAA company comes and asks them, can you make this part of the game? And they do it.
So it's a lot of outsourcing.
Yeah, outsourcing. That is the word. Thank you. There's a lot of outsourcing. In terms of companies, I think we have like 60 or more. That I know of. A lot of in the industry. I think every year, maybe 1 or 2 companies start, because we have some careers for game developments here as well. We have careers that are like video games design and focus on programming. It's like they teach them all of the, I don't know, Unity or Unreal or whatever tools they need for making games, and they focus on a part of that. Not all of the universities do this, but some of them do, and some others do like a general kind of thing, and then you can find out what you want to do after. So like, okay, I know art, I know music, I know a little bit of everything, which one I like it more, and then they choose to follow up a career under that direction that they choose of. And apart of that, about the meetings and everything, since I said at the beginning, I'm from the organization that's Game Dev Planet. We are like in charge of making these meetings monthly and making talks and trying to gather the community and making networking, and after that going to drink something with all of them and like strengthen the bonding of everyone. Right now it's a bit hard to make meetings, so we're trying to make it an online one, and that's why we decided to make the GameJam+ as well, to make like another stage for the industry, to people meet up and stuff like that. And yeah, we have some important, like Ace Team is one of them. Iguanabi made a game that's really important as well. We have Gamaga. They also made games like mobile games that have a lot of reach. Also, we have. I'm trying to remember all of the names. They're going to hate me.
No problem at all.
Yeah, well, we have like a lot of people that it's coming up to the market in a really strong way. Octeto Studios as well. They are making like extremely interesting game right now, and yeah, I think when the time goes by, like they're making up games every time more interesting. So now that we have companies that have more than 5 years, it's now that they're taking notice of them. Especially Ace teams, since they have important games out and know worldwide. I think they are one of the most important, I think. So yeah, I think that just sums up.
But it's interesting. Well, we are talking about the same industry. Games is one of the industries that there is no differences where you are doing games. You sell in the same stores, so you are buying games internationally. You are producing games to sell it internationally. There's any boundaries on buying and selling games. Well, Steam, Xbox, PS. And Google Play, Apple. It's all stores and marketplaces that you are selling worldwide. So there is any difference where you are doing games. But also, as we see, there is a lot of differences between all the ecosystem peculiarities and demands and focus. There are some communities that are more focused on mobile games. There are some one that are more driven single player indie dev scene. Another ones there is more focus on outsourcing. Another ones there is all around AAAs. And so it's a very diverse industry. But also, we know in all these places there is some community of game developers that, well, meetups and trying to go to get a beer or catch up together. And what I want to address right now is the importance of this community collaboration. So there is some people that think, oh, I don't want to collaborate because they are my rivals in game industry. I don't want to share my ideas, my knowledge, and etc. It's a very sad way to think, but we know that exists this kind of person. And I want to you all address the idea of the importance of this community collaboration. Why collaborate is better than to make a competition with someone. Anyone can speak. I'm not going to address specifically for anyone, but you can intervene.
Can I start?
Yes, of course, please.
Yeah, usually what we told here is that still the industry is really collaborative. I don't think I have met anyone yet that has told me, I don't want to give you information, you suck, or something like that. By any means, they are all kind, and they're always trying to bring up the industry, because we are all working for making bigger here. I think that's one of the main goals for everyone, that the industry grows and bring big, important companies here. So apart from that, there is a thing that I think everyone says in the industry, like, why would I steal your idea if I have my own idea? So I want to make that. So that's one of the big importance of collaboration. Like, I can teach you, so you can make your own idea, and you can teach me, so I can make my own idea, and no one is ever going to steal something, because making a game, it's a lot of effort, a lot of work. So to make someone else's idea doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, I very much agree. We get a lot of this as well. You know, I have a game idea. How many doesn't have a relative who's done that during a dinner, right?
Everyone has a game idea.
Yeah, and
I have a game idea, and I am not game developer. So.
Yeah, most of the time they actually only have a story idea. So I say make a movie, but yeah, as you said, making the game is the hard part, not the ideas. Your idea is worth nothing unless you can execute it. So, and I think that's what most game devs are starting to realize now. Unless you do something very, very weird, and most likely it's not going to be useful, right? So, yeah, no, here in Code, I think everyone just sees each other more as a colleague than a rival. I mean, there's so many gamers in the world, and they tend to be able to play more than one game unless you make like Dota, right, or World of Warcraft, and most of us are not doing that.
I completely agree as well. My experience, like anywhere in Sweden, everyone is really friendly with each other. We actually actively teach students, for example. We say to them that, okay, the game industry in Sweden is big, but it is also a fairly small amount of people, if you see so. So you're probably going to meet like everyone at some point. So if word gets out that you're an asshole, that's going to spread. So encourage everyone to like be friendly with everyone. Everyone in the industry is a colleague. And as far as I've seen, everyone is more than eager to showcase their games or their ideas.
And that's awesome because, well, Game Jam Plus, the idea around and this event at all, it's all around collaborative community. So there is a lot of people, mentors and organizers, and even the community itself that is voluntary in this event. And there is a lot of game jams and meetups and lectures, workshops that all about voluntarism. There, you don't need to be paid to doing that. Any of you, it's getting any money to organize Game Jam Plus, or the mentors are not being paid to being there, spending their times to help each other. And why it happens so often. So I don't need to be a mentor in Game Jam Plus. I don't need to organize this event. But why I decide to doing this? Why I have this? Why I want to being part of this community? What I'm gaining to being part of this community and share my knowledge. So, what do you think about it?
Well, that we should share our knowledge, or
yes, why to be voluntary, even if you're not being paid off? What you are gaining on spending your time to help some team or helping someone or sharing your knowledge, even in a context that, oh, I already know what I'm telling, I don't want to that I'm learning on. So why to?
I would like to think it's because people that help organize these things, as everyone here probably is passionate about games and passionate about the game industry. So, I mean, it's just a good opportunity to help spread game development.
Yeah, I would say I would love to be this chaotic neutral guy that says like, yeah, it's for farming karma, yeah, right. It will later pay off, right? But no, it's mostly altruistic, right? Helping everyone around and trying to get the thing going, and maybe, yeah, they can later go and inspire more people. I've actually, there was a teacher I had from the US that actually taught like 5 of us game design. He came here in Costa Rica for about 6 weeks. He gave like a game design course for like 6 people. It was really intensive, and we made like small prototypes and stuff. And I think 4 out of the 6 people made a company. So that's the kind of thing that I think we should be striving for, right? So trying to get people to look forward to getting their dreams come true, right?
I think one of the reasons why people organize these kind of events or share knowledge is to make a difference. When you know that whatever you are teaching or whatever the information that you are giving, you know that you make an importance in a person's life. This person can choose now with this knowledge to find a career or to look for something else, or to follow up with a dream that it couldn't occur to them that they could have. Like, I didn't know that I have the chance to make games, for example. I didn't know that I can actually make games from where I live, or I could go to another country to live to make games. So it's kind of like making an opportunity, and also giving them hope for something new, or just letting them know to learn something. Everyone likes to learn, even if not in the school, but to learn something new. Everyone enjoys that. And so when you teach someone something and they say, oh my God, thank you so much for teaching me, then you know that you're making a difference, and that feeling, it's something that everyone shares. I think I haven't met anyone that told me, oh no, I don't want to teach my knowledge because no one cares or something like that. So everyone enjoys a little bit of teaching or a little bit of giving something back to the community because someone else give you something at the beginning as well.
Yeah, I would say we have a lot of paid forward culture, at least here in Skövde, since most of these companies have started from students starting your own company, learning along the way, getting mentorship from other companies that started a few years earlier, you know. So I think you decide to try and share what you wished you'd known when you started, and that's a lot of it.
And that's very interesting because, well, when you're saying about the community, you need this share of knowledge to build something. So it's impossible for anyone goes alone and know everything about everything that you need to know to make a game. So you need, it's a very interdisciplinary universe of creation. So you need programming skills, you need art skills, you need game design skills, you need business skills, soft skills. So it's a very diverse industry in terms of talents and knowledge. So it's a very important this ecosystem of sharing knowledge, because it's really, really impossible to get all of these in the same person or the same team. You need always be ongoing learning things. So even experienced game designer or game development team needs to be ongoing study on, because the technology changes, the industry, the business model are changing. So it's really, really, really important. I think it's the idea that you are addressing about the importance of this community is very cool. And I think it's a common sense for us, for the game industry, say, oh, we share knowledge, it's okay. But we see there is another industries that it's a kind of taboo to, or it's a problem to share knowledge. You say a lot of people in tech industry kind of be, no, I don't want to, the startup is my rival. Or you see a lot of things in also in film industry, this not willing to share ideas and thoughts and knowledge. Here in game industry, I feel, I don't know if it's absolutely true, but I feel that this willing to share and help and build a community is something that is more strong in game industry than in another industries, related industries. I don't know if it's really true, but I feel it.
I think it has a lot to do about the passion.
Yeah.
We're all passionate about games. I guess most people we have a lot of fintech companies here. I mean, they're not like, oh, I'm gonna go work for this bank. I mean, it's not the same kind of passion about it, right? So we have more in common with each other as well, because we know why we're passionate about our job compared to random people in fintech or banking or whatever. You know, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna go hang out with those other bankers, talk about money. I mean, I think it's all in the passion. Even if you're an artist or if you're a programmer, but it's all about the love for games, right? So you kind of connect in another way than you do in a lot of other.
And I think it's pretty rare someone being in the game industry just for the money, because, well, there is another industry
You
that
made a
more.
poor decision if that's the reason.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not for the money. It's there is some intrinsic motivation about passion, about I enjoy make games. I want to express myself through games. So it's easier to create this this feeling of taking part of a community when you are around this kind of thoughts of passion, especially.
You know, Pedro, you said something interesting about the film industry, because actually here in Costa Rica, there's a really small film industry, right? But they're like the companies that are like competing are trying to compete for local work, right? So they're like piranhas. Like I went to an event, to a local event from the film industry, and they were like shooting stuff around. Like it was awful. And they actually one of them actually attended one of our meetups of game developers. He was like amazed. He couldn't believe that we got along so well. And it's, yeah, there's a different kind of thing. We're kind of like more collaborative, and I guess it's because there, even though there's a lot of competition, at least here in Costa Rica, it feels like the competition is, well, there's a lot of space to go, and the competition maybe is more outside of Costa Rica. So we try to grow as a community together.
Yeah, I would say for us, the competition isn't about selling the games. It's more about the talent. We have, I mean, it's hard to find senior developers, so that's when people might start to try and snag your teammates, But here in Skövde, we try and keep it very open in discussion, so it doesn't really happen much. But everyone knows that if someone feel like not staying at the company they're at, they're very welcome to join another company in town, of course, if that's what they want. But we don't headhunt within the community here.
There is some ethics around it, so
yes.
it's really important. So let's talk about Game Jam Plus itself. Well, it's a game jam, but there is some differences in Game Jam Plus than, for example, Global Game Jam or Ludum Dare. It is this focus on product development, some pitch decking, some skills that not often you see in game jams. So I want to talk about it. And what do you think is the unique thing on Game Jam Plus that can be interesting to students, but also to someone that is already in the industry and want to stay in a place that helps them to develop themselves as the developers and something like that?
I think the most important thing for me, at least, is the pitch stage, when you have judges that have to listen to you in a business manner. So you have to sell a game, and even if you're not going to be a business developer, or if you're not going to work as one, to be able to create a pitch, even when you are not studying a career related to video games, because probably you have to do that in your school or in your university. It's a nice chance to try it, or to make an effort for it, see how it works, see if you have what it takes to do it, because maybe you didn't know that you could do that, or that you wanted to do it. So it also makes you understand how the sales team makes stuff. And that's incredible, because usually when you are a developer, you're not involved in the sales team's part of it or the marketing part. So you have a chance to look it up, how to make a good presentation, how to speak in public. And that's most people don't know it, but that's actually an interesting ability when it's people judging you, and you have to be confident about what you're telling to make a pitch. It's an excellent opportunity to make progress on that, practice it.
Cool. Anyone have any thoughts about this? The peculiarity of Game Jam Plus as a unique event. What kind of skills that you can learn in Game Jam Plus that is different than some other game jams?
I think it's really important, the fact that you have to think about the business part of it. Things I know at the university here, that's not the main focus, because it's academia. It has another focus. And for us and the game incubator, which we have here, it's really a great opportunity for us to once again point to the fact that if you want to start a game company, there's more to it than just making a game. You need to know that there is a market for it and how to get to that market. And I think Game Jam Plus definitely has that. And also for the developers we have locally, we have quite a bunch of bigger companies, and they've been around for a while. And I think we see more and more people, quitting to start their own thing, also with the help from the game incubator. But I think Game Jam Plus can be a venue for them to try it out a bit.
Cool.
What fascinated me about the jam was the sheer scale of it, that it's modeling these different parts, and it feels like it's very connected on a global scale in a way that for example, Global Game Jam is as well, but it doesn't feel as connected with the other countries as this one does. That's what drew me to it anyway.
And that's very interesting, because it's an industry that exists in a lot of parts of the world, but I never meet anyone making games in Costa Rica, for example, or in Chile. I met some people that make games in Sweden, but also I doesn't know anyone from Stockholm, for example. And it's very cool to get this place, also to understand that the game industry is so wide. There is so much people and so much cool people around, not only in your neighborhood, that you can meet and learn from it. So it's very cool to be here with you, for example, and being with another people, very different places, because I think we need to learn more from diversity of backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, and it's very, very important. So you touch a good point, Martin, about this idea of international community of game developers that is making that for the passion of doing it, and but also need to be doing it for as a business. So if you want to live by games, you need to sell your game. So you need to have the skill of selling your games. That's one thing that I see a lot in university. I like to do my games, but I don't like to sell it. So no, you need to sell your games. You need to you need that people play your games, and you need to pay your bills with your games. You don't want to work in a bank and make your games in the weekend. So you want to live from your games. So it's very cool, this idea on teaching business. Understand the idea that yes, your game is it's a commodity. It's something that you need to sell in some way, but also is a creative product that you can express some ideas around it. But you need to understand it in the context of industry and market and so on. So it's a cool idea around it. And I want to well, we are going to our next thoughts in our live today, but I want to address it, the importance of understand games also as a product. And how do you think in this context of Game Jam Plus you can help people to make understand it better? So the mentorship, the pitch, so what the importance of these skills of business in the industry.
On my end, I think a lot of people, indie game devs that have participated on game jams, regular global game jams, for example, they tend to make like a small prototype and then they just leave it there and move on, and they don't know what to do. So part of it is try to show them the long steps that you have to do in order to actually make your game a product. And I think in this game jam in particular, a lot of people who are in the industry don't know the process after making the game, at least a prototype, and how to follow up on that. So I think there will be a great opportunity to actually teach a lot of people on how to do it, even if they don't, maybe that's not their forte, but at least having that vision forward, that can help them guide their game development, game design ideas.
Anyone has any thoughts to add on it?
I mean, I think it's quite interesting. I mean, I've been in the industry for over 10 years by now, and then just the whole market has changed so much. As I said, now it's more important than ever to be able to do the other stuff, the marketing, the pushing, the community building. Like 10 years ago when we released our first game, if you got on Steam then, you had to impress a woman called Anna Sweet. I think she's still there. She took all the applications for Steam via email, and if she liked it, you could get through, and that meant you'd be home. You'd be done. You'd be breaking even within months. And today that's not the case. Today 200 games are released on Steam a week. I mean, how do you get through that buzz? So now it's so much more important than it was back then. It actually did. It was enough to make a great game. Because if someone who knew what they were doing saw it, you'd make it. But now that's not the case. There's too much stuff out there. So I think that's really great. And I think for us with the students, which would mostly be the ones taking part in our game jam, to make sure they get, and also to encourage them to have the idea to start a company. The sooner we put that in their head, the more likely it is they'll come to the incubator and hopefully start a brilliant game company, and hopefully success faster than they might have otherwise.
Yeah, in the same vein, the technology for making games has become so much more accessible as well. I mean, it's not unusual for teams of like 1 to 5 people to make a best-selling indie game. And it's because it's easier than ever. There is a lot of games released. It's also because it's so much more easier to make a game now than it was even 10 years ago, and especially like 20 years ago.
That's cool.
That
So
is true.
yeah, definitely, because the barriers of entrance in this industry, it's passing the time is lowest. So because you can make a game with a little budget, but also you need to understand that make a game itself is not a promise of selling it, of break even it. And that's what Tal said about, you need to understand that, okay, I make a good game, but this good game alone can sell themselves. So you need to understand how to put it in the market and create a community. And also, when you're talking about to fund your game, you need to know how to negotiate with a publisher, how to make this game possible, because we know with our own money we can't make a game. We can make a game with $10,000 or something like that. You need to attract some publisher or attract some investment sometimes. So it's easier when you have someone and some skills that help you to attract these investments. And that's one interesting thing when you're talking about networks also. So knowing more people is helps you to make possible your game to happen. So the network strength of an event like GameJam Plus, it's also important. So.
Definitely. It's also something we tell the students here, that the most important thing they have to do during their education is to get in contact with all these people, and because here we have 8 different disciplines. We have everything. We have 2D art, 3D art, animation, tech, sound design, narrative design. There's all types of talent here. So you can build your whole team just by saying hi in the corridor to the right people. And they should really take the advantage of that.
Yeah.
Well, we are closing to the ending of our talk. It's been very interesting to see all these perspectives, and I, in advance, thanking you for these contributions. I want to say to who are watching us to taking part of GameJam Plus, know some place that is close to you. And taking part of this event, because it's a very cool place. I have known a lot of people that I never known before. I see a lot of cool games, and I have made friends in GameJam Plus. It's a very good place to meet people that you never meet before, but also it's a place with a lot of learning. So there is a lot of good mentors that can give you some ideas, some thoughts about your games. And you're gonna taking part of a good ecosystem of evaluation of your game. So you're gonna get feedback from jury, you're gonna get feedback from people. So be our +1 in GameJam Plus. It'd be awesome. And if there is any close place of GameJam Plus close to your city, think about organize GameJam Plus in next year, because I think it's a very cool event to put the community together. And well, I'm gonna give the word, passing the word through every one of you to give some final thoughts about the local community, and also about the GameJam Plus that you are planning to organize and make happen in the next week. So starting with Felipe. Please, Felipe, conclude your final thoughts, and also tell us about the GameJam Plus in Costa Rica. I think it's mute, your mic.
Whoops.
No
yeah,
problem.
no, thank you very much, everyone, for this. And I hope that for all listening, we can make an awesome game. I know that it's going to be a great event, and there's a lot of opportunity for growth, collaboration, and meeting other people. So I'm really, really excited. I think the mentors that we have are going to be awesome, and they can really push your work forward in a great way. So I think having their feedback and feedback of the juries is going to be amazing for their game development. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the projects.
Margarita?
Yeah, I'm thinking that it's a great opportunity of learning. And if you have like a community of friends, or maybe you have like someone that you know that wants to make a game, it's a extremely nice way to start, because it's a really nice learning stage. Like when you don't know to do anything but you want to join, you can do it, and that's a good thing for starting. And you give yourself the opportunity to learn is always a good thing. So by any chance, join. If you don't have an organization close to you, maybe talk with other organizers if they let you in. It can happen as well, since it's online. You can maybe try. So yeah, just join and be aware of the community in your own country and have an amazing jam.
Great, thank you. Okay, it's concluding. And Tao?
Yeah, I just want to make sure people should definitely not be afraid to ask for help. Just as we said, all this conversation, that everyone in the community loves to give their thoughts and help you out. So make sure to get the most out of it.
Thank you. And Martin?
Yeah, I'm just hoping people will participate, take the opportunity to connect with developers all over the world. Making games is fun, and a game jam is a perfect opportunity to try out ideas and become a better developer.
That's awesome. So very, very thank you for all of you, Felipe, Margarita, Tao, Martin. It was a good time being here and learning with you also. So if you want to take part of Game Jam Plus, well, be our +1. It'd be very cool also. And well, see you then. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Fala galerinha, eu sou o Cristiano Torreão, dublador do Lupus de Grand Chase, do Jarvan IV de League of Legends, do nosso queridíssimo Junkrat de Overwatch e do Azaf de Uncharted Lost Legacy, entre outros personagens. Galerinha, eu tô aqui para convidar vocês para um evento especialíssimo, vocês não podem perder. É o Esquenta da GAMEJAM+2020. É isso aí, galera. E no dia 8 de outubro eu vou estar lá, num painel especialíssimo, junto com Marcelo Figueiredo, CEO da Radioativa Game Sound. E nós vamos falar do quê? Nós vamos falar sobre trilha sonora original e voz original para jogos. É isso aí, galerinha. A gente vai falar sobre o processo de construção das trilhas e do processo, dos conceitos para a escolha das vozes dos personagens dos games, tanto em inglês quanto em português. Então, é um painel imperdível, feito para você que é super curioso em conhecer como é feita a dublagem e como é feita a trilha sonora para jogos. Dia 8 de outubro, a partir das 18h30, horário de Brasília, eu e Marcelo Figueiredo, junto com vocês na Game Jam Plus 2020. Espero vocês lá.